Hello and welcome to Around the Wickets here on ThePapare.com. We are looking ahead today to a very tough series between Sri Lanka and India. I say tough because India is a top side and they are here with their full complement of batsmen and bowlers. Now it's a full tour. Sri Lanka will play 3 test matches, 5 one-days and also a single T20 game. Now the test series will start on the 26th of July. That will start in Galle. Then the second test on the 3rd of August at the SSC. And then the final test will start on the 12th of August at Pallikalle. Then the one-day series, that starts on the 20th. A solitary game at Dambulla, and that's a day-night game by the way, and all games are day-night games. Then the 24th and 27th, it's at Pallikalle, and then the action moves to Colombo. 31st and 3rd September, the final 2 one-day games at the R. Premadasa Stadium, and then of course the solitary only T20 game on the 6th of September, at which point the tour concludes. As we know, it is a tough tour. Don't forget, India has one of the best players, or in fact some of the best players I should say. Virat Kohli, a top batsman. Ravindra Jadeja is the #1 bowler in the world. Ranganahera second. Ravichandran Ashwin, top spin bowler. So there are some extremely good quality players figuring in this Indian lineup. Now just to bring you up to date with some statistics about India and Sri Lanka. So far in 38 encounters, Sri Lanka have won just 7 games, while India have won 16. Now at home in Sri Lanka, that is, there have been 21 games, out of which Sri Lanka has a slightly better record, winning 7 as against 6 games of India. Now in the last series, the most recent series, I'm sure you remember how Sri Lanka got off to a brilliant start with Ranganahera bowling them to a victory in Galle, but it wasn't good news from there on. The next 2 games, Sri Lanka lost with Sangakkara's final test match, the second test match also lost. So India winning the last series under Virat Kohli 2 matches to 1. So if you look at the 2 sides, I said India is a top side. They have some outstanding players. I'm not going to dwell on that Indian lineup, but the Sri Lankan squad has some interesting additions, particularly Dhananjaya De Silva. He comes in for Dinesh Chandimal, who incidentally is down with pneumonia. And Sri Lanka has also gone in with Malinda Pushpakumara. Now they got 2 left-arm spinners, they got an off-spinner in Dilruwan Perera. Now ideally in my side, I would want to go with the left-arm spinner and the right-arm off-spinner, because the 2 left-arm spinners look very similar. Ranganahera is an orthodox spinner, Malinda Pushpakumara is an orthodox spinner. So with Ranganahera captaining the side, the chances are that Malinda Pushpakumara will not play. Now had Lakshan Sandakan been included, I would have been tempted to play Sandakan, because Dilruwan sadly in that last game looked a little bit flat to me. To me, he was firing the ball in, he was not looping the ball, he was not searching for turn. He seemed to have got into a rhythm of firing the ball in, which wasn't really good. And on a track that gave some spin, not outrageous turn, but some spin, Dilruwan Perera struggled to exploit it. By comparison, Captain Creamer and Ranganahera were much better. So Dilruwan Perera will have to really up his game if he plays in Galle. Now, just a few interesting points that I want to leave with you before the first test match. How, and first and foremost, let's try and focus on the Sri Lankan captain. Dinesh Chandimal was made captain, test captain. He won that Zimbabwean game, quite a close call, record chase and all that against the #11 side in the world. That doesn't matter. Sri Lanka beat Zimbabwe chasing a record score. Now that's what matters. I'm not looking at the opponent, I'm looking at the situation. So that's well done to Sri Lanka. But then immediately Chandimal contracts pneumonia. Now pneumonia is a serious business. It's a serious sickness and you need to rest. So I'm wondering how Dinesh Chandimal will cope with this situation, and I'm hoping that he will be available for some part of this test series. Now how critical is this position going to be for Sri Lanka? Now Chandimal was batting at #4. Now Sri Lanka has brought in 2 options. They brought in Dhananjaya De Silva. They also have Danushka Gunatilaka. Now there are 2 options open to them. The first option would be you just play Dhananjaya De Silva at #4 and go with the tried and tested openers. But if you look at the way the one-day side is played and the way Upul Taranga has been going up and down the order, I feel that Sri Lanka may open with the informed Danushka Gunatilaka and bat Upul Taranga at #4, which is not a bad choice at all, in fact. You go with players who are tried and tested and players who are in fact in form. So Upul Taranga in good form, we've seen him bat brilliantly in the one-days, in the test matches. Danushka Gunatilaka given the opportunity to open in that two-day game. Danushka Gunatilaka, Lahiru Thirimana and Roshan Silva, the only three players who really put their hands up. In fact, I am a bit surprised to see that Lahiru Thirimana has not been included in this side, but I am sure selectors know exactly the reason, and maybe they are just allowing Lahiru Thirimana to ease into international cricket again. And another player that is always was always knocked on the door, Roshan Silva. Unfortunate. I know it's a tough call on them, but then the selectors have to really make some tough decisions. They're looking at playing an experienced side against an experienced team. So the likes of Roshan Silva just seem to miss out at that last minute. But there is no doubting his quality. Now, in terms of the options, as I said, will it be Danushka or will it be Dhananjay Silva? Now, that's an interesting option to look at. And then, of course, who will be the two fast bowlers? Now, Suranga Lakmal has been the main strike bowler or the spearhead of Sri Lanka. I am positive that Sri Lanka will only play two fast bowlers, and I would first write the young Lahiru Kumara's name in this lineup. I would think that he is first choice in terms of fast bowling for Sri Lanka. I will be surprised if Sri Lanka goes with Lakmal and Nuwan Pradeep, because Lakmal to me in that test match looked absolutely flat. Bowled at around 125 to 130, just touched about 135, but never appeared to be having that rhythm. You know what I liked about Lahiru Kumara? I saw him running with a lot of aggression, energy on the field, and the way he started off at the beginning of the day running in and clocking 140 plus, really hurrying the batsman, and he gave the same kind of effort even at the end of the day. Now, that's not easy. That is not easy. If you are a fast bowler, you know that it is not easy to come back and bowl a spell towards the end of the day and bowl at the same pace. Now, this is why I think Lahiru Kumara should be one of the first in terms of fast bowling that gets penciled into the Sri Lankan side. Now, I'll be interested to see whether it would be Nuwan Pradeep or Suranga Lakmal. If it is a choice between the two, I would rather go with Nuwan Pradeep simply for his consistency. I'm not taking anything away from Suranga Lakmal. I was impressed with the way he bowled in Zimbabwe, the way he bowled in South Africa. Maybe it's unfair to judge him by one game. My question is he carrying a niggle? If he's carrying a niggle, it's important that he takes a good break and comes back firing fit. And then, of course, the obvious battle between the two sides. Now, Sri Lanka has Dilruwan Perera and Rangana Herath, if Dilruwan plays, which I think will happen. And, of course, India has Ashwin and also Jadeja. So, it's a battle between two top sides, two top spinning combinations. A left arm spinner and an off spinner, left arm spinner and an off spinner. Both left armers 1 and 2 in the picking order in the world ranking. So, it's a very, very, very interesting scenario as far as the test match is concerned. And then what I would want to see is what would be the surface that would be given for this test match. Now, I would go with a spinning surface because that's Sri Lanka's strength. I would never want to go with a seam bowling surface because India has equally good fast bowlers or even more experienced fast bowlers. So, why not play to your strength? So, I believe it will be a typical Gaul pitch. You win the toss, you bat, try and put some pressure on the board and look to bowl fourth with a big score last. So, that will be the plan. India will know that, particularly after they lost to Sri Lanka in that last test match. And Sri Lanka's record in Gaul is so good, they know exactly what to do when it comes to test matches in Gaul. Now, as far as India is concerned, Mukund and Shikhar Dhawan, they may be opening most likely with Rahul ruled out with fever. Now, what would be India's combination? Will they go with 6 batsmen and 5 bowlers and include Kuldeep Yadav? You never know. India is keeping their chance or keeping their options open and keeping it very close to their heart. So, they are not going to tell us what they are going to do. But as far as I could see from a Sri Lankan point of view, I see Sri Lanka playing 2 spinners, 2 fast bowlers, 7 batsmen including Asela Gunratna. So, it's going to be an interesting series. It's a tough series for Sri Lanka, but always statistics tells you some sort of story and it doesn't lie. Now, statistically, Gaul is a happy hunting ground and Sri Lanka will want to get off to a winning start when it comes to the Indian series, just to try and get the ascendancy, just to try and get a few psychological points over India. So, let's see. 26th of July is the big day when the series unfolds. You can join us on Cricketry when the series happens so that we will give you continuous updates on how things happen and panned out during the day. So, until we see you again, it's goodbye from all of us.